Hey Samfam, this is Riya from SAMAYA, MCQ 1, CA Inter. The Art of Auditing, Taxation, Finance and Law, along with other disciplines such as accounting, law, and equips with knowledge that require to enter into auditing as a profession. Auditing, obviously auditing, right? Samfam, this is Riya from SAMAYA, MCQ 2, CA Inter. No business or institution can effectively carry on its activities without the help of proper audit, records and accounts, neither A nor B, both A and B. I think, moreover, with records and accounts, what do we do? Audit? We audit records and accounts, right? I think, moreover than audit, it's records and accounts because audit is applicable for few only after specified threshold limit. So B is more appropriate. Confirm, this is Shreya from Samaya, MCQ 3 CA Inter. As per SA 200, overall objectives of independent audit. In conducting an audit of financial statement, the overall objectives of auditor are to obtain reasonable assurance, report on financial statement, both to obtain absolute assurance. There was in the whole audit syllabus or audit pronouncement, there's no word called absolute assurance. So both would be the most appropriate answer. Option C. Hey Samfam, this is Shreya from Samaya, MCQ 4 CA Inter. With regard to the audit of financial statement, what is the fundamental principle of professional ethics? Professional judgment, professional skepticism, professional intelligence, professional competence and due care. Option D, professional competence and due care. Samfam, this is Shreya from Samaya, MCQ 5 CA Inter. The auditors, objectivity, independence, confidentiality, integrity, safeguards the auditor's ability to form an opinion without being affected by any influences, that is, being independent to the circumstances. So, independence. Option B, correct answer. Confirm, this is Riya from Samaya, MCQ 6 CA Inter. Which of the following is the responsibility of auditor? Preparation and presentation of financial statements in accordance with applicable financial reporting. Actually, this is a duty or responsibility of the management, and design, implementation and maintenance of internal controls is also responsibility of the management. Express an opinion on financial statement is a responsibility of auditor. To obtain a limited assurance, to obtain a reasonable assurance is a responsibility of the auditor but not limited assurance, so option C is right. Hey Samfam, this is Riya from Samaya, MCQ 7 CA Inter. An employee of Fruits and Vegetables Limited was of the opinion that auditor of the company is required to express an opinion on which of the following the auditor of a company is required to express an opinion. Only balance sheet, financial statements, only P&L, only cash flow statement. Option B, financial statements which consist of balance sheet, P&L, cash flow statement, notes to accounts, etc. This is Shreya from Samaya, MCQ 8 CA Inter. The auditor of Delicious Sweets Limited was of the opinion that the objective of audit of financial statements of a company is to provide reasonable assurance that financial statements of that company are free from misstatements. Which type of misstatements are mentioned by auditor of Delicious Sweets Limited? Simple, material, easy, competent. As per SA 200, the auditor has to obtain reasonable assurance whether financial statements are as a whole are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error. So option B, material misstatements. Hey Samfam, this is Riya from Samaya, MCQ 9 CA Inter. If the auditor concludes that there is a reasonable justification to change the engagement, and if the audit work performed complied with SAs applicable to the changed engagement, the report issued would be appropriate for the revised terms of engagement. In order to avoid confusion, the report would not include reference to, for the thing is that they are saying for the changed engagement they wanted to change the audit work. So in order to avoid the confusion, the report should not include what the original engagement or with the original engagement procedures. So any of thing, or they should not include original engagement or any other procedures in original engagement, only original engagement, any procedures, original engagement and any procedures. So here we might get confused with the options A and D, but the correct option is option A, original engagement or any other procedures. When they will say not here, this or itself acts as the and. So option A, right. Hey Samfam, this is Riya from Samaya. MCQ 10, CA Inter. The auditor is unable to agree to a change of terms in the audit engagement and is not permitted by management. Then what the auditor shall do? That with regard to the terms of audit engagement, the auditor and management were disputed. What the auditor should do is that he should withdraw the engagement, and if it is there any obligation contractually or legally, he should also intimate to such regulators or such higher authorities. We'll see the options. This question, which frequently gets repeated even in our descriptive examination also. Withdraw the audit engagement as per applicable law, and here an obligation to report to the TCWDG or regulators. Withdraw the audit engagement and determine whether there's an obligation. We have to know whether we have to intimate to anybody of higher authorities, TCWDG or some regulatories. Yeah, it's and here, but the same like an or for here, it is not an option, it is a and. So option C is appropriate. This is Riya from Samaya, MCQ 11, CA Inter. A request from the client for the auditor to change the engagement may result from a change in circumstances affecting the need for the service. Could be because due to change in softwares, etc. A misunderstanding as to the nature of the audit or related service originally requested could also be a reason. Yes. A restriction on the scope of the engagement, whether imposed by management or caused by circumstances, could also be a reason to change for the engagement, change in the terms of engagement. Any of this could be. So all the three options were right. Not one only, it's not an option. Both 1 and 2 is also not an option. 1, 2 and 3 were options. But this option could confuse us, right? When we said there could be an answer for 1, 2 and 3, anything could be the reason. But all the 3 is the reason. Here we should not choose or because any of these could be an answer. Correct. All the 3 are right. So option C is right. Hey Samfam, this is Shreya from Samaya, MCQ 12, CA Inter. Standard on Quality Control, SQC1 provides that unless otherwise specified by law or regulation, audit documentation is a property of management. No, audit documentation is property of the auditor. It's not the auditee's property, it's the auditor's property. Unless otherwise specified, the documentation is property of those charged with governance. No. Unless otherwise audit documentation is property of management or those charged governance. No. Documentation is property of auditor. This is right. Option D is correct. Hey Samfam, this is Riya from Samaya, MCQ 13, CA Inter. As per SC 200, the overall objectives of an independent auditor and conduct of an audit in accordance with standards on auditing. They are talking about the definition of SA 200. It's to obtain, the objective of auditor is to obtain reasonable assurance. Absolute assurance, limited assurance, reasonable or absolute assurance. Auditors cannot give any absolute assurance. They could give reasonable assurance is obtained when auditor is obtained sufficient and appropriate audit evidence to reduce audit risks to an acceptably low level. So option C, reasonable assurance, is correct answer. This is Riya from Samaya, MCQ 14, CA Inter. Out of audit program, overall audit strategy, completion memorandum and audit plan, which sets the scope, timing and direction of audit and guides development of more detailed plan. That is, what sets scope for audit plan is what do we do, what do we prepare before audit plan is audit strategy. So option B would be the correct answer. Audit program is more detailed version. Completion is, it doesn't set for the, it was prepared after completion, and audit plan itself doesn't guide. So overall, audit strategy is the right answer, option B. Hey Samfam, this is Riya from Samaya, MCQ 15, CA Inter. Planning is a continuous, discrete or neither continuous nor discrete or a strategic process of an audit that often begins shortly after the completion of previous year audit and continues until completion of current year engagement. Planning is actually a continuous process, continuous and iterative process. Wherever you find any kind of deviation, you have to modify the audit plan and you have to change the audit materiality, etc. So plan option A, continuous audit planning is a continuous process. Option A is right. This is Shriya from Samaya, MCQ 16, CA Inter. They have given us two statements. We have to identify whichever is correct. Statement 1. The establishment of overall audit strategy and detailed audit plan are not necessarily discrete. That is, they are telling that they are mandatory or sequential process but are closely interrelated. Yes, preparing an audit strategy and audit plan is a mandatory process. So this statement 1 is correct. Statement 2. The auditor shall establish an overall audit strategy that guides the development of an audit plan. Yes, this also stands true. So both the options were true. So both statements 1 and statement 2 are correct. Option C, right answer. Hey Samfam, this is Riya from Samaya, MCQ 17, CA Inter. Which of the following is not addressed by an overall audit strategy? Overall audit strategy sets scope, timing and direction of audit and guides development in audit plan. So scope okay, timing okay, direction okay, monitoring of audit doesn't the audit strategy. So option D is the right answer. Hey Samfam, this is Shriya from Samaya, MCQ 18, CA Inter. The overall audit strategy and the audit plan remain the responsibility of who does the audit, right? Auditor does the audit. So it's responsibility of the auditor to do overall audit strategy and audit plan. Option A, auditor. It's not neither the responsibility of management nor TCWG. Option A is correct. Hey Samfam, this is Shriya from Samaya, MCQ 19, CA Inter. Determining a percentage to be applied to choose a benchmark involves the exercise of independence, professional judgment, professional skepticism, professional behavior in relation to the materiality. While determining the materiality, auditor has to apply his professional judgment. So option B, professional judgment is right answer. Samfam, Shriya from Samaya, MCQ 20, CA Inter. Which of the following is not an example of benchmarks in determination of materiality for financial statements as a whole? Actually, materiality is a percentage on some benchmarking amounts like which were present in financial statements like net worth, profit, sales, expenditure, etc. So profit okay, net worth, total revenue okay, total equity okay, audit program is something which you do not find in financial statements. So option C is right answer. Hey Samfam, Shriya from Samaya, MCQ 21, CA Inter. We have to, out of the 4 statements given, we have to find which is true. The author shall establish an audit plan and that sets scopes, timing, direction of audit and guides development of audit strategy. This is completely reverse. The correct thing is that the auditor shall establish an overall audit strategy that sets the scope, timing and direction of audit and that guides the development of audit plan. So we'll find the thing. Here they have said establish overall audit strategy and there is no need to guide. No, that's wrong. The audit shall establish overall audit strategy and that guides development of audit plan. Yes, this is true. That sets the scope and there is no need to guide overall audit. No, option C is correct. Auditor shall establish an overall audit strategy that sets the scope, timing and direction of audit and guides the development of audit plan. Hey Samfam, Shriya from Samaya, MCQ 22, CA Inter. Planning an audit involves establishing the overall audit strategy for the engagement and developing the audit plan. Yes, first you have to establish an overall audit strategy and develop the audit plan. A seems to be correct. Establishing an overall audit plan, no, you have to develop the audit plan. First you have to establish the rules and regulations and scope, that is audit strategy. Developing audit strategy, no. Establishing audit plan, no. Option A, establishing the overall audit strategy for the engagement and developing an audit plan. Hey Samfam, Shriya from Samaya, MCQ 23, CA Inter. When planning the audit, the auditor shall consider what would make the financial information materially misstated. Yes, the objective of the auditor is to make whether is to check whether the financial statements as a whole were free from any material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error. So option A seems to be right. We'll check the other. Need not consider no. Need not consider no. Needs to consider while conducting audit only. No. For the audit period only. So not so option A. Author shall consider what makes the financial information materially misstated. From Sriya from Samaya, MCQ 24, CA Inter. As per essay 320 on materiality in planning and performing an audit, requires that an auditor should not consider materiality and its relationship with audit risk while conducting audit. No, he should consider the materiality plus the relationship with the audit risk while conducting the audit. So he should consider the materiality and relationship. If B stands true, we'll see the other options. Should not consider materiality, should consider relationship. No, he should consider both. Should consider materiality but need not consider relationship. No, option B stands true. It's B is right answer. This is Shreya from Samaya, MCQ 25, CA Inter. Which of the following is true? The internal audit plan should be comprehensive enough to ensure that it's achieving the overall objectives of an internal audit. Yes, that's true. Internal audit plan should be generally consistent with goals and objective of internal audit function. It's also held true. In case of entire internal audit or a particular internal audit has been outsourced, it should be, the auditor should ensure that the plan is consistent with the terms of engagement. This also helps true. So option D, all of the above is correct. He's from Sriya from Samaya, MCQ 26, CA Inter. Once the overall audit strategy has been established, what has to be developed to address various matters identified in the overall audit strategy? We already have known that, right? After audit strategy, you have to develop audit plan. So option B, audit plan. From Sriya from Samaya, MCQ 27, CA Inter. The auditor shall develop an audit plan that shall include description of audit procedures, right? Yeah. Audit plan shall include descriptions of audit procedure. We'll go with the options. Nature, timing, and extent of planned risk assessment procedures, yes. SA 200 series. Further audit procedures, yes. Planned audit procedure as per essays, yes. So option D would be most appropriate, all of the above. From Sriya from Samaya, MCQ 28, CA Inter. They have given two statements. We have to find whichever is true. Statement 1, a response that indicates a difference between information requested to be confirmed and information provided by confirming party is a negative confirmation. That's actually a exception. That's actually an exception. The difference between the information asked and the information that was provided is an exception. If statement 2, so this statement 1 is incorrect. Statement 2, a failure of confirming party to respond or fully respond to a positive confirmation request or a confirmation request returned undelivered is an exception. That's actually a non-response. So statement 2 is also incorrect. So option C, both 1 and 2 are incorrect. Option C is the right answer. He's from this is Riya from Samaya, MCQ 29, CA Inter. CABJ, statutory auditor of SAMAYA Limited for the financial year ended 22. In the process of assembling the audit file, Vijay briefed his team to make any changes in the audit documentation at that stage. So what all the changes that cannot be made during that final assembly process is that we have see the first option, sorting, collating and cross-referencing of working papers you could do at the time of final assembly. Yes, you could do that. Signing of completed checklist. Yes, you could do. Deleting or discarding superseded documents. Yes. Superseded documents are such documents which was not in value in such place. Some other documents have been placed. So you could also do that. Recalculation of depreciation should not be, it's an audit process. You cannot do that while final assembly of audit process. So option D cannot be, is right answer. Option D, recalculation of depreciation cannot be made at the time of final assembly process. Here's Samfam, Sriya from Samaya, MCQ 30, CA Inter. Which of the following is not correct? SA 230 audit documentation, yes, right. SA 500 audit evidence, yes, true. Essay 5 note 5, external confirmations. And essay 5 is written representation. So this C is wrong. You'll see this next option. Essay 560 subsequent events, yes, true. So option C, essay 505 written representation is wrong. Here's some film. This is Sriya from Samaya. MCQ 31, CA Inter. Out of risk assessment procedures, tests of controls, substantive analytical procedures and observations, which refers to audit procedures performed to obtain an understanding of entity and its environment, including its entities, internal controls, to identify and assess the risk of material misstatements. This refers to SA315, where the risk assessment procedures, it's to identify assess the risk of material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error at a financial statement and assertion level. So option A, risk assessment procedures. Exam from Sriya from Samaya, MCQ 32, CA Inter. Audit documentation provides. Audit documentation is nothing but the evidence that was collected by auditor so that his objectives were achieved and the audit was planned and performed. Evidence that the audit was planned and performed as per SCs. So we'll see the options. Evidence that the overall objectives of the auditor, or the evidence that it was planned and performed by SCs. It is not an or. Both the conditions have to be satisfied. The objectives of auditor has to be satisfied, plus the audit should be planned and performed as per SCs. So the second option, conclusion and the evidence, is that it was planned and performed as per SCs. Option B is correct. It is not that, not only conclusion, not only a plan and performed as per SGS. Option B is correct. Hey Samfil, Sriya from Samaya, MCQ 33, CA Inter. Which of the following is right? The audit shall assemble the audit documentation in an audit file, okay, and complete the administrative process of assembling the final audit file on timely basis after the date of audit report. Obviously, after the audit report only, will within 60 days we'll assemble the audit file, right? This is appropriate. We'll see others. Shall assemble and shall not complete the assembling of final audit file. That's not true. We should complete the assembling of final audit file. The auditor shall assemble and complete assembling before the audit report. No, we cannot do that before audit report. The auditor shall not assemble. That's also not true. So option A, the auditor shall assemble the audit documentation and complete the process on timely basis after the audit report. Sriya from Samaya, MCQ 34, CA Inter. Audit evidence includes information contained in accounting records, and both the information contained in accounting records and other information, or any of that, or they have used. It includes, audit evidence includes the information that was in accounting records of the financial statements, plus other information also. Other information like commitments or balance sheet items, bank guarantees, or any other issues with regard to the going concern, or any kind of disputes between large trade receivables, etc. So option B, both information in accounting records as well as other information and other information. Here's some from Sriya from Samaya, MCQ 35, CA Inter. The auditor shall design and perform audit procedures for litigation and claims, and what the audit procedure he could perform. How could he do that? He might inquire the management and including internal legal counsel. Yes, he could do that, and he could review the meetings of the entities and with its legal external legal counsel. Yes, he could also review those meetings, and he could review the legal expenses also. So the option most appropriate would be, he could do all the three, right? So the most appropriate would be D, all of the above. Exam from Sriya from Samaya, MCQ 36, CA Inter. If auditor is unable to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence with regard to opening balances, as per 705, you could give either disclaimer or qualified opinion with regard to that. So auditor shall express a disclaimer opinion, a qualified opinion, or a qualified or a disclaimer opinion which he thinks is appropriate with accordance with SS 705. Yes, and on modified opinion. He cannot issue an unmodified opinion because it's opening balances, which is very significant matter, right? So option C is more appropriate. From this Shreya from Samaya, MCQ 37, CA Inter. Auditor's judgment as to sufficiency may be affected by the factors such as the sufficiency that they are talking about here is sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. The audit evidence could be affected by materiality, yes, it affects risk of material misstatements, yes, the size and characteristics of population, yes, audit sampling, populations, number of samples affect the sufficiency of the, that's the quantity of the audit evidence. So all of the above. More the materiality, lesser the audit evidence. More the risk of material misstatement, more the audit evidence. More the population, more audit evidence. From this is Shreya from Samaya, MCQ 38, CA Inter. The auditor has no obligation to perform any audit procedures after the date of auditor's report. But a fact comes to know that which makes the auditor to amend the audit report. Then the auditor shall, we have to discuss with the management and also determine whether the financial statements also were amended, etc. And we'll see the options. First, they have to discuss with the management or those charged with governance and determine whether financial statements need an amendment or not. As inquire how management intends to address the matter in financial statements. As this could also be this could be done. So D, all of the above would be most appropriate answer. From this is Riya from Samaya, MCQ 39, CA Inter. Audit risk is a function of risk of material misstatement and detection risk. But risk of material misstatement include control risk and inherent risk. Okay, so audit risk equal to R risk of misstatements plus detection risk. Risk of material misstatements include inherent and control risk. Hey Samfam, this is Riya from Samaya, MCQ 40, CA Inter. For the given level of audit risk, the acceptable level of detection risk, that is, detection risk is a risk where the auditor cannot find a material misstatement, is inverse relationship to the assessed risk of material misstatement. So here they are saying that the detection risk is something that the auditor cannot find, which is inverse to the assessed risk, that is, he had identified the risk of material misstatement, so which carries an inverse relationship. Detection risk something he cannot find RMM. Assessed risk is had find RMM, so which carries an inverse relationship. Option B. Hey Samvan, this is Shreya from Samaya, MCQ 41, CA Inter. Risk of material misstatement contains how many components? It contains two components, inherent risk, control risk. Audit risk contains risk of material misstatement and detection risk. Risk of material misstatement contains inherent risk and control risk. Hey Samvan, this is Shreya from Samaya, MCQ 42, CA Inter. Controls can be related to an assertion, whether directly or indirectly, we have to see. Assertion is actually a management representation regarding anything, regarding about the qualitative or quantitative factors which were in financial statements or which were in financial statements. Controls were nothing but internal controls. So they might directly or indirectly go with an assertion. If it's an assertion about an internal control, it could go directly. If the assertion about an sale, completion of sale or PPE, etc., it could go with indirectly. So option C is most appropriate answer. Hey Samvam, this is Riya from Samaya, MCQ 43, CA Inter. Which of the following is incorrect? For the purpose of identifying and assessing the risk of material misstatement, the auditor shall. Okay, what the context of this question is? SA 315. They're asking which is not the purpose of SA 315. First thing, identify the risk throughout the process and obtain understanding of entity and its environment. It's obviously objective of SA 315. Assess the identified risk, yes, and evaluate them also is in purpose of the SA 315. Option C, related to the identified risk, take account of related relevant controls and test them. That's also purpose of 315. And not consider likelihood of misstatement. No. The main purpose of SA 315 is to identify and assess the risk of material misstatement. So option D is incorrect. So option D is more appropriate answer. Subscribe for more. We are going to make a community larger. Hey Samfam, this is Riya from SAMAYA, MCQ 44 CA Inter, which refers to difference between classification, presentation or disclosure of a reported financial statement item and the amount that is required to be classified, presented and disclosed as per applicable financial reporting framework, whether it's a misstatement, fraud, error or fraudulent reporting. Misstatement. A misstatement refers to a difference between an amount of something that was reported but which is required to be reported. It's a difference between which is reported and required to be reported as applicable FRF. It's a misstatement. Option A is more appropriate. Hey Samfam, this is Riya from Samaya, MCQ 45 CA Inter. L Limited is an unlisted public company and it has to appoint internal auditors as per company side. And what's the paid up share capital limit they're asking? Okay, we'll revise the internal auditor limitations. If it's a listed company, it has to appoint internal auditor. If it's an unlisted public company, its paid up share capital should be 50 CR or more. That is, as soon as it touches 50 CR, it has to appoint internal auditor. Turnover 200 CR or more, outstanding loans from any kind of banks or financial institutes, 100 CR or more, total deposits that were taken were 25 CR or more. Total deposit 25 CR or more, double that. Paid up share capital 50 CR or more, double that. Outstanding loans 100 CR or more, double that. Turnover 200 CR or more. If it's a private company, turnover 200 CR or more, outstanding loans 100 CR or more. Only these two. And that paid up share capital and outstanding deposits were not applicable for a private company. So since it's an unlisted public company, paid up share capital that is more than, that is 50 CR or more. Option B is more appropriate. Subscribe for more. Hey Samfam, this is Ria from Samaya, MCQ 46 CA Income. B Private Limited is required to appoint internal auditor as per Companies Act. What's they're asking about the turnover limit. Okay, we'll discuss about all the threshold limits to appoint internal auditor. If it's a listed entity, it has to appoint internal auditor. If it's an unlisted public entity, paid up share capital 50 CR or more. That is, as soon as it touches 50 CR, it has to appoint internal auditor. Turnover 200 CR or more, outstanding loans 100 CR or more, outstanding deposit 25 CR or more. And if it's a private entity, the turnover should be 200 CR or more and outstanding loans were 100 CR or more. So as soon as it touches 200 CR turnover, it has to appoint internal auditor. So the best option is option B. More than or equal to 200 CR, it has to appoint internal auditor. Option B is more appropriate. Subscribe for more. Hey Samfam, this is Shreya from Samaya, MCQ 47, CA Inter. The components of risk of material misstatement at assertion level are, you see, this is our favorite question, right? We know that audit risk is equal to risk of material misstatement plus detection risk. Risk of material misstatements is equal to inherent risk plus control risk. And we also had, so option B is more appropriate. And we also had mentioned this MCQ in our Telegram and YouTube channel. You could test your MCQ level there, your MCQ knowledge there, and subscribe for more for daily updates. Hey Samsung, this is Riya from Samaya, MCQ 48 C8. When deviations from controls, that is, there were deficiencies in internal controls, upon which the auditor intends to rely are detected. Okay, the auditor found out the deviations in internal controls, then now we have to choose the most appropriate option among four. What the auditor need to do? The auditor shall not make any inquiries and understand the matters and the potential consequences. No, he has to make inquiries to understand the matters and their potential consequences. The auditor shall make specific inquiries. Yes, this is the most appropriate. And we'll see the next option. The auditor shall make general inquiries. No, the auditor shall make both general as well as specific. No, the most appropriate is specific. Why? Because he had found out some deviations with regards to that. If he had not found it, he made or make some general inquiries. But with regards to any deficiency or irregularities, he had to make specific inquiries to understand these matters and their potential consequences. So option B is more appropriate. Please do like and share. This is Via from Samaya, MCQ 49 C Inter. Because the assessment of risk of material misstatement takes account of internal control, to what extent the substantive procedures have to be made,
from the results of test of control. I think they were asking more about the relationship between the risk of material misstatement and audit procedures. More the risk of material misstatement, more audit procedures have to be performed. And so we have to cross all the irrespective portion and option A wrong. And they have to be increased when the tests of controls are satisfactory. They are talking about the inverse relationship here. No, more the risk, more audit procedures. It's a positive relationship. The extent of substantive procedures may need to be decreased with the when the tests of controls are unsatisfactory. No, again inverse. The extent of substantive procedures may need to be increased when the results from the test of controls are unsatisfactory. Yes, this option D is more appropriate. More audit procedures when the test of control, that is, the internal controls were unsatisfactory. Option D is more appropriate. Please do like and share. Hey Samsung, this is Shreya from Samaya MCQ 50 CA Intel. Risk of material misstatement may be defined as the risk that financial statements are materially misstated after the audit, during the audit, or prior to audit, or all of the above. You see, risk of material misstatement is something that the auditor assesses prior to audit in order to know to what extent the audit procedures have to be performed during the audit. So that the opinion was not misstated, opinion was not inappropriate after the audit. So the risk of material misstatement is may be defined as the risk that the financial statements are materially misstated prior to audit. Option C is more appropriate answer. Please do like and share it with your friends.